Okay, so next up we've got histograms, and things to remember: frequency is frequency density times class width. The y-axis is always frequency density, and the x-axis will always be your other scale, which is a continuous measure, so time, length, something like that. Okay, so on Monday, Victoria measured the time in seconds that individual birds spent on a bird table. She used the information to complete the frequency table, used the table to complete the histogram. So to complete that, we are going to need to add frequency density to our table. And of course, frequency density. Frequency is frequency density times class width. I'm going to call frequency density D, F, and C. So if frequency is frequency density times class width, frequency is density times class width, so we have got to work out density, so we are doing frequency divided by class width. We may want to put class width in here as well, but we've got a class width of 10, of 10, of 5, of 5, and of 20. So 8 divided by 10 is 0.8, 16 divided by 10 is 1.6, 15 divided by 5 is 3, 12 divided by 5 is going to be 0.6, no it's not, it's going to be, go, brains misfiring, whoops, 12 divided by 5 is going to be 2.4, wrong way round, and 6 divided by 20 is going to be 0.3. Okay, so then we need to draw in the histogram. So if we go down a little bit, it can still see everything. Our first bar has been drawn for us, so our next bar has a frequency density of 1.6 and goes from 10 to 20, so it's between the two bars that we've got. Ooh, we don't have a scale. Let's pop a scale on there. We do know that this has a frequency density of 0.8, so that will be 1, that will be 2, that will be 3, and that links in nicely with the second bar as well that we know has a, the third bar, which we know has a frequency density of 3. Meaning each little mark on our scale is 0.1, so our 0.6 is going, 1.6 sorry, is going to go here. There we go. Third bar's been done, so our fourth bar, which has a frequency density of 2.4, only has a class width of 5, so it's going from 25 to 30, so it'll go here, 2. Excuse me. 2.4, and then we need our last bar, which is 30 to 50, so going all the way across here, and it has a frequency density of 0.3. Perfect. Right, question 2 then. Oh no, part B, sorry. We might need that again in a second. On Tuesday, she conducted a similar survey and drew the following histogram from her results. Okay, so this time we are going to use the histogram to complete the table, and we are told that our first bar has a frequency of 10. We know that the class width is 10, so therefore it must have a frequency density of, well, frequency density is going to be 10 divided by 10, 1. So now, if we go to our graph, we know that the first bar has a frequency density of 1, so we can label that on our axes, which means that 2 dark squares, 2 dark lines is 1, so that will be 2, that will be 3. We can now write down the frequency density of all the rest of our groups, and we can also work out the class width. So we'll do the class width first. That's 10, 5, 5, and 20 again. So our second group has a frequency density of 1.5678. Then our third group has a frequency density of 2.8. Our third group has a frequency density of 2. And our fourth group has a frequency density of 0.4. Now that we know our frequency densities and our class widths for each group, if we go back, we need to work out frequency, which is frequency density times class width. 1.8 times 10, 18. 2.8 times 5 is 14. 2 times 5 is 10. And 20 times 0.4 is going to be what? Times 0.48. Okay. Now it's question 2. Use a histogram to complete the table. We're given our frequency density this time, so for our first group it's 8. For our second group it's 12. For our third group, okay, this is where it gets a little bit tricky. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So between each dark line we've got 5 marks, and each dark line represents 4, so 4 divided by 5. Each of our little marks represents 0.8. So that will be 1.6 on top of the 4, that's 5.6. And for our last group, that looks like it is 2 little lines, so that's going to be 1.6. So the frequency table below gives the information about the books sold in the second bookshop on Saturday. We've got frequency. We've done frequency density. Muppet. So now we need frequency. Oops. Should read the question properly. For that we'll need our class widths. So we've got 5, 5, 10 and 20, and we're going to do our frequency density times by our class width. So 5 times 8 is 40, 5 times 12 is 60, 10 times 5.6 is 56, and 20 times 1.6 is 32. Alright, so let's do things the right way around this time. So we're going to want frequency density. Let's work out our class widths. So we've got 5, 5, 10 and 20 again. So our frequency density is going to be our frequency divided by our class width. So for our first one, 16. For our second one, 4. For our third one, 2.4. And for our last one, 4.8. Okay. On the grid, show histograms to represent the information. I'm going to use the same y-axis scale, the same frequency density scale as they used in the first one. So it'll be 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. Yeah, that'll fit everything. And then we're going to draw in the bars. So our first bar goes from 0 to 5 with a density of 16. Our second one goes from 5 to 10 with a density of 4. Our third one goes from 10 to 20 with a density of 2.4, so that's, we worked out each little one's going to be 8, so that's 3 squares. And our last one goes from 20 to 40 with a density of 4.8, so that's going to be 1 square above the 4 line. Question 3. The incomplete table and histogram gives some information about the distances walked some students. Blah blah blah. Right, so we're going to need both. Use the information to complete the the frequency table. Okay, so first off, we've got, let's work out the class widths for our groups: 300, 100, 100, 500. Now we don't have this first group plotted, so we can't do anything with that yet because we don't have our scale. We do have our second group. That has a frequency density of that has a class width of 100, a frequency of 350. So we're going to work out our frequency density, and of course density is frequency divided by class width. So that's going to be 350 divided by 100, 3.5. We can also work out the frequency density of the group above, 210 divided by 300, which is 0.7. Right, we can't work out the other two groups because we're missing out, but now we can go to our graph, and we do know that our second group has a frequency density of 3.5, so that must be 3.5 on our axes. 1, 2, 3. Oh, lovely. So that means that this is 3, 2, 1, 4, 5 if we needed it, and we could mark on the rest of the 0.5s if you feel the urge. Now that we know this, we can plot the bar for the first one. That has a frequency density of 0.7, so 5, 6, 7. Okay. Now we can find the frequency density for our third group, the 400 to 500. That's going to be 3.9. And we can find the frequency density for our last group. That's going to be 0.8. Okay, so if we want to find our frequencies for these groups, we are now going to have to do our frequency density times by our class width. So 3.9 times 300 times 100 is 390, and 0.8 times 500 is 400. Oh, and we've completed the histogram as well because we drew the first bar, because I drew the first bar in this room. Alright, I'll continue the rest in another video.